Warriors, welcome back to Gods of Alliance. If you're here, it means you want power, knowledge, and control over the battlefield. This is not luck. This is strategy. Let's break the game together. Yesterday, we broke down the Scorching Flame season calendar, but today, we go much deeper because now the real questions begin. Are these new events actually better, or are players quietly losing value again behind the scenes? Because, let's be real, Warriors, the Hero Wars community has become very cautious lately. Too many bugs, too many strange adjustments, too many reward changes happening without players fully understanding the long-term impact immediately. And honestly, this season did not exactly start clean either. Players logged in today and instantly found bugs waiting for them again. Thankfully, most of those problems now appear fixed, which finally allows us to focus on what truly matters. The new event, Abyss Splendor. The event replacing one of the oldest and most efficient seasonal structures players were already comfortable farming every single month. And Warriors, this matters a lot. Because events like this are not just about random rewards anymore. They reveal the direction the developers want Hero Wars to evolve toward during the next months. And one thing already feels very obvious. Realm is becoming a massive part of Hero Wars now. More realm tasks, more realm rewards, more realm progression, more guild versus interaction. And slowly, older, standalone event structures are beginning to disappear completely. Now, whether that eventually becomes a good thing or not, we still need time before making a final judgment. But today, we can already analyze the rewards, the task structure, and whether Abyss Splendor is actually worth your time and resources. So first, we start with the painful part. Because yes, Warriors, players lost rewards. And not small rewards either. With Outland Splendor disappearing, two extremely important task lines vanished together with it. The first one? Outland Shop purchases. Previously, this alone rewarded players with around 230 small skinstone chests, roughly 2,300 skinstones, plus Battle Pass trophies. Gone. Completely removed. Then, we lost another extremely efficient task line. Winning arena battles with 21 different heroes. That one previously rewarded another huge amount of skinstones, relic shards, and battle pass progression. Also gone. Completely. So before we even analyze the new tasks, players are already losing thousands of skinstones, relic shards, and hundreds of battle pass trophies compared to the older structure. And honestly, that hurts. Because Outland Splendor was already considered one of the best recurring progression events for slowly improving hero skins across entire accounts. But now, Warriors, let's look at what Abyss Splendor actually gives back in return. The event now contains 8 major task lines. Log in, open Outland chests, earn VIP, open tower chests, spend energy, earn Titanite, train marksman, gather food. Now immediately, the first 3 tasks already show us the direction clearly. Less direct hero progression, more realm integration. And that pattern keeps repeating across almost the entire event. Now, let's break down the important parts correctly. First, tower progression. Players are now rewarded for opening tower chests daily, scaling all the way up to 33 chests per day. And Warriors, if you fully complete this task line, the rewards are actually pretty good. Skin stones, Rune Spheres, artifact resources, battle pass trophies, realm materials, speed-ups. The problem? 33 tower chests daily is insane for most players. Realistically, most intelligent players stay around 15 daily, because spending massive amounts of emeralds, refreshing tower over and over again, usually becomes terrible value long-term. And honestly, that still feels like the smartest approach. Because if you stay around moderate tower progression, you still gain solid rewards without destroying your emerald economy completely. So unless you are a massive spender, trying to fully max this task line daily probably makes very little sense. Now, Warriors, the next task line is much better. Energy spending. And honestly, this is one of the best additions inside the entire event. Finally, players are rewarded properly for simply using energy during seasonal progression instead of forcing weird artificial tasks. And because the cycle repeats, active players can recover a surprisingly large amount of skin stones through normal gameplay. Very good addition. Simple, efficient, healthy for the game. Then we move into what may honestly be the best part of Abyss Splendor: Titanite progression. And warriors, this task line is fantastic. Why? Because almost every player with decent infinite dungeon progression can complete it naturally without suffering through absurd mechanics. And the rewards are very solid. Skin stones, rune spheres, battle pass progression, excellent value. This is exactly how event tasks should feel. Accessible, efficient, worth doing. But unfortunately, this is where Abyss Splendor becomes messy again. Because then we arrive at the realm-heavy tasks: marksman training and warriors. This task line is absolutely absurd. To fully complete it, players need to train ridiculous amounts of units non-stop during the event window. Constant logins, constant speed-up usage, constant management. And the rewards? Honestly, not even remotely worth the effort. Our advice is simple. Take the easiest efficient rewards, then stop. Trying to fully optimize this task line feels terrible for the majority of the player base. And sadly, the same thing happens with the food gathering tasks. Because once again, players are asked to massively overcommit into realm micromanagement for rewards that simply do not justify the time investment. And this is where Abyss Splendor starts revealing its real identity. The event is not necessarily worse overall, but it is very different philosophically. The developers are clearly trying to merge realm progression directly into seasonal events, instead of keeping realms separated from traditional Hero Wars progression. And honestly, warriors, this is probably the real reason older structures disappeared. Because now, rune systems, realm progression, battle pass scaling, relics, talismans, guild versus, Titanite, all slowly start connecting into one giant progression ecosystem. And that changes everything moving forward. Now, when we look at Abyss Splendor as a whole, the event feels very mixed. Some parts are genuinely better. Energy tasks? Excellent. Titanite progression? Very strong. Rune Sphere rewards? Actually very welcome. But at the same time, players clearly lost value in classic hero progression systems compared to the older Outland Splendor structure, especially free-to-play and mid-spending players. Because Whale's Refreshing Tower aggressively can still generate enormous value from the event, but average players will likely end slightly below the old progression totals, unless they heavily invest resources. So overall, Abyss Splendor feels less like a direct upgrade, and more like a trade. You gain more rune integration, more realm progression, more system connectivity, but you lose part of the straightforward hero progression players were already comfortable with. And honestly, that is why community reactions are so mixed right now. Because players are still trying to understand whether this new direction actually benefits long-term account growth or simply spreads progression thinner across more systems. Now, our advice for most players is very simple. Focus mainly on energy tasks, Titanite tasks, moderate tower progression, Outland chest openings. Those are the efficient parts. The heavy realm micromanagement tasks? Treat them as optional bonuses. Do not force them. Because right now, the rewards simply do not justify extreme investment unless the developers improve those structures later. But warriors, this event tells us something much bigger than simple rewards. Hero Wars is changing. Realm is becoming deeply integrated into the main progression loop. Older standalone events are disappearing, and the developers are clearly experimenting with a completely new direction for seasonal progression. Now, whether that eventually becomes amazing or frustrating depends entirely on how these rewards evolve over the next few seasons. Because right now, players are watching very closely, and honestly, they should. Because this season may quietly become one of the biggest structural shifts Hero Wars has seen in a very long time. So now we want to hear from you. What do you think about Abyss Splendor? Did the new structure improve the event? Or do the reward losses feel too painful compared to classic Outland Splendor? Because Warriors, this conversation is only beginning. Warriors, this is how we play the game. Not randomly, not blindly, with knowledge, with precision, with control. We don't build randomly, we build with intention. Master the mechanics, control the fight. Let's break the game together.